in today's video, I have my Goodreads out. We're just gonna get super cozy together. All the books that I read this year. I got my hands on the physical copy. Cry every single time. Crazy. With the grief, instead she was kissing boys. I think I should raise my standards a little bit. Tears are falling. Tears are streaming. Teenage girl sits down in her room. Teenage girl writing on Wattpad. Oh my god. Like, the words aren't even that small either. Stella. She literally wasn't reading it. Like, she literally takes forever to read the damn book. Addiction problems and how much it affects the people around them. And basically everybody is questioning their own sanity because... Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Kaylee, and I'm back with another video for you guys today. So in today's video, if you guys can tell by the title, that's not my intro. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Kaylee, and I'm back with another awesome video for you guys today. So in today's video, as you guys can tell by the title, I'm going to be giving my 2024 reading wrap. And I know that the first month of 2025 is almost over, so I'm a little bit late to the game. Usually people post these videos in like December, but I finally found the time to sit down and film and give you guys an overview, give you guys a wrap up of every single book that I've read this year. I'm going to be going in depth and giving you guys little summaries along with opinions, doing my best to not spoil the books, obviously. And I have my trusty dusty iPad here, and I have my Goodreads app open with all the books that I've read this year. So I really want to incorporate more bookish content into my channel because a lot of my favorite YouTubers are bookish creators, and I feel like it's always something I wanted to do. I spend a lot of my time reading when I get the chance. A lot of my free time reading is what I meant to say. Not that I have much of that anyway. But when I do have free time, I do spend a lot of it reading. I love to read. I love immersing myself in a beautiful little fantasy world. And this year, I want to hit a lot of different reading goals. Like, I want to make a reading journal because one of my favorite YouTubers, Cameron Kane, made one. Sorry, I keep looking out my window. I'm sorry if you guys noticed that. There's just a lot of people walking around. I have the biggest cup of coffee I've ever seen here. It's literally like the size of my face.
No, it's not.
And so we're just gonna get super cozy together. Grab a snack, grab some tea, grab some coffee. Put this video on while you clean your room so that you can get some inspo for which books you should be reading and which books you should avoid in 2025. Let's go. So just a quick overview before I start going in depth about the books I read. I read 11 books in total. My goal on Goodreads was 10. And I know that's such a small number of books, especially compared to what I usually read. Like back in 2022, I read almost 30 books. And then 2023, I read 20-ish books. So this is definitely like a step down from the amount of books I usually read. I've just been super busy and I go to a different school. It's okay. We're definitely stepping up our reading game for 2025. So these are all the books that I read this year in order of when I read them, and I'm going to be going in depth. I read in total four of the books that I read were rereads. 2 of them were for school, and 1 of them is a reread and a graphic novel. I definitely read more graphic novels this year, but I don't really track my graphic novels the same way that I track my novels. Like, I don't really care because graphic novels are so quick. You can literally read a graphic novel in like 30 minutes. Probably not 30 minutes. Well, actually, I swear I've read like graphic novels in 30 minutes.
I know that nobody asked, but I one time read a graphic novel when I was sitting on the toilet, and I think it was like years ago, and it was like Girl from the Sea or something, and I read it on the toilet and I was crying on the toilet too. Anyway.
Starting off strong, we've got Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman, and this counts as a reread because I finally got my hands on the physical copy, but I've obviously been reading it on Webtoon as it comes out every single time it comes out on the 1st, 11th, and 21st. I always make sure that I catch up on the new page, but whenever I get my hands on the physical copy, I'm gonna reread it too. I am literally the biggest Heartstopper fan known to man. You can see a sneak peek of my Heartstopper mural on my wall over there, my Heartstopper tote bag that I made, and my Heartstopper drawings that are like on my wall. I love Heartstopper so much. I love Alice Oseman. I'm gonna be so sad when they leave, but I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads, obviously. I rate all the Heartstopper volumes 5 stars. I rate all the Heartstopper volumes 5 stars because I feel like you can't really go wrong with Heartstopper. It means the world to me. I've been in this fandom for like so many years, and I feel like it's definitely a part of my soul. I'm gonna be so sad. I hope we get a season 4 renewal. Netflix season 4 renewal. It's not the first book I read. I definitely read this later on in the year when I got my hands on the copy, but I just thought I should get it out of the way because the rest of the books are novels. So starting off strong with the first book I read of 2024, it was I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. There's gonna be a lot of Alice Oseman, and this was actually a reread. The first time I read this was years ago. I don't even remember the year. It was the first Alice Oseman book that I actually read before Heartstopper, and I only realized that because then I wanted to get my hands on it. And the first time I read it, I checked it out of a school library, and then I discovered Heartstopper in 2021, and I realized that, oh my god, this is the same author. So then I reread this book in 2022, in summer 2022, and I've been rereading it literally every year since. It's literally my comfort book, and I love the characters. I love it so much. The book is a dual perspective, and it follows the perspectives of both Angel Rahimi and Jimmy Kagurichi. And Angel is this obsessed fangirl, and she's obsessed with this band called The Ark, and she travels to London to meet her friend Juliet Schwartz and stay at Juliet's house because they are both fangirls and they're online best friends. And oh my god, there's so many like delivery trucks coming. I saw UPS, Amazon, FedEx, and they've all passed through, like, and still my free prints aren't here. I love Angel so much. I'm not the biggest fan of Juliet, I'm not gonna lie, because she also invites this other guy that Angel didn't even know was coming, and I kind of find it disrespectful. And then Jimmy Kagurichi is the lead singer of the band The Ark that Angel is obsessed with, and it follows both of their perspectives throughout the book. And I love it so much. I love how diverse both characters are. Angel is an unlabeled Muslim girl, and Jimmy is a trans gay Christian guy, and I just love so much. It's like everything in one, like freaking 5-in-1 combination. I just love them both so much. They're literally my babies. I hold them so close to my heart, and I love the characters. Obviously, this book gets a 5-star, like most of Alice Oseman's books, but I didn't write a review for it because it was just a reread, but so much love for this book. I listened to it in audiobook form, and I'll try to specify. I think I only listened to 2 audiobooks this year. The rest of them I read the physical copy, but this one, the first time I read it, like, I've read it physically so many times, but this was the first time I actually listened to the audiobook, and I really like it. So it definitely gave me a different perspective, but I love how it didn't differ too much from also how I like imagined the characters sounding in my head. And I love the way Angel talks. She's literally moving on to the next book that I read in 2024. We've got Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. This is again a reread. Sorry, I was in a bit of a book slump at the beginning of the year, like very slow start to the year. January to February real quick. I only read 1 book in like each month, and then I skipped March. No, I didn't. Am I lying? Anyway, moving on. Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I love this book. I made a little poster for it for my room because I just love the book. My favorite book ever. This is the first YA book that I've ever read, I think, in my entire life. The first YA book that I ever checked out from a school library in grade 5. Can you believe it? It's been a wild ride with this book, and I genuinely believe, I could genuinely tell you with full confidence, not even a hinge in my brain that I'm lying, I've read this book every single year since grade 5, because oh my gosh, it hits every single time. These two guys, y'all have no idea how close how they have a room in my heart. But it was obviously a 5-star. This book follows the story of Eleanor and Park. Again, it is both of their perspectives in the book, but it's written in 3rd person. I kind of would have preferred if it wasn't, but that's okay. That's okay. Obviously, I look past it. The story follows Eleanor and Park, obviously. Eleanor is new to the school, and you know when you get on the school bus and everybody has those like assigned seats, unspoken but assigned seats, like they're not actually assigned, but it's like everybody sits in the same place every single time. So Eleanor didn't know where to sit. There were no like empty seats, and she would sit down and the bus driver was yelling at her like, "Sit down, girl, sit down." And everybody was like, "No, you can't sit here, actually. This is reserved for my friend." And then Park, he was so rude, and he was like, "Just sit the down." And that blossomed into something beautiful. But Park is like this nerdy guy. Eleanor is she's like literally the weird girl. She's literally the weird kid. Like, what the freak? Why are you being weird for? She's the weird kid. She has this like long curly red hair, and she dresses weird. She's not the most wealthy, so she kind of dresses in like old raggedy clothes. She has kind of like a hippie style, but like unintentional. Like, she just dresses like different. She's just different. And Park is Korean, and he's so cool. He's like a nerd. He listens to the Smiths. I'm so bad at like explaining these books, I'm not gonna lie to you. The book ending is not my favorite. Not that it's a bad ending. Well, it is a bad ending, but not that it's badly written. It's just sad. And I cry every single time from grade 5 to grade 10. Probably gonna reread it again this year. 5-star. Moving on. Hey, this is not a reread, guys. I got a notification that my package was just delivered. So my free prints are probably in the mailbox. We've got Loveless by Alice Oseman. Now, this is the only book in the Osmanverse that I had not read up until the beginning of last year. I had read all the books by 2022. By July of 2022, I had completed every single Alice Oseman book except for this one. And I'll explain my thought process behind why. This book is about an arrow ace girl named Georgia War, and I was so afraid of that. I was like, okay, that sounds literally so horrible. But I was just like, I want to read about love. Like, and it's so stupid because I think I've like kind of grown out of like my I'll only read romance era. But I don't know. I was like afraid to read the book because I was like, what are you gonna talk about? Just the fact that you don't like people, like okay. But I was also very young. I decided to read the book. I got a few pages in 2022 and I was like, boring, and I put it down. I picked it back up at the beginning of last year, and let me tell you, this book did everything that I needed and more. I did write a review for this book. I gave it 5 stars on Goodread, of course. It's so perfect. Let me give you a little synopsis of the book. It follows Georgia War and her friends Pip and Jason, and they get accepted into the same university. They've been best friends forever. Pip is like lesbian and Jason is just like your average straight guy. And apparently, wait, is that a spoiler? I probably just won't mention it, but I think it's, I don't know. But the book starts off with them at home, and Georgia has like this weird interaction with a guy that she thinks she had a crush on for like all these years, but then the way she reacts when he like goes over to kiss her is kind of weird. Kind of crazy. In fact, it's more than weird. It's like crazy reaction. Crazy. Act like an angel, just like crazy. Da, 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 da. She has a crazy reaction. Pip is like, you might be lesbian. She's like, I don't know about that. And it's just like a whole story. It's a whole story. You need to read it to understand. And they get introduced to their friend Rooney. They get accepted into the same university, but for some reason, everybody gets their own room except for Georgia. Because, I don't know, maybe she got accepted late or like she applied late. Something of the sort. But she doesn't end up getting her own room, so she has to share with a girl named Rooney. And at first, I didn't like Rooney. I thought she was too nonchalant. I thought she just didn't care about anything. And also she... Again, this was my immaturity speaking, but I thought that she was a little bit weird because she kind of just every single night, and I'm talking every single night, every single day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Guys, freaking foreshadowing moment. I ended up watching XO Kitty after this. I knew what was gonna happen.
Every single freaking night, she was out and about, like, every night. And at first I was like, oh, that's weird. But then she ended up like explaining her reasoning in the book. And then I was like, to me, that still doesn't make that much sense. But I understand you just want to feel something, and that's okay. But then there's a little bit of a twist with Rooney actually in the book. So yeah. But I think she's such a spectacular friend. One thing about this book that I just appreciate is that it doesn't necessarily focus the entirety of the book around the fact that Georgia is Arrow Ace. I mean, it does, but it doesn't make such a big deal out of it. I think the emphasis in the book is more on the importance of platonic friendships more than like, oh, being Arrow Ace is such a big deal. Like, once she comes to terms with it, she kind of just decides that she will pay more attention to her platonic relationships in her life, which I could relate to a lot. And I thought I couldn't relate to this book at all, but when I read it for the first time, I literally saw so much of myself within the main character. And I don't think I'm Arrow Ace, but I definitely have the same value toward platonic friendships. I think I feel so much for my friends, and I think that that's such an important thing to have, and so I loved that the book emphasized on that. And I'm definitely not summing it up. And when I tried filming this video in June, when I did like a mid-year checkpoint, I didn't end up uploading it, but when I filmed this video in June and I did like a mid-year checkpoint, I had so much to say about the book, and now I feel like it's been so long that now I don't remember what I need to say. That's why trusty iPad comes in handy. We're gonna read my Goodreads review on it. Oh, I did want to read the Elon Musk book.
Huh?
Is that bad? Is that by him? I thought it was just like about him. Maybe you'll know why he's so crazy. It's a little bit cringe. It's very long. This is my review on the book. Guys, I think these are in the wrong order because I literally read this in May. Here's my review. I finally found time to sit down and finish this book literally in one sitting. That is true. I did read this book in one sitting. I'd attempted to read this book in 8th grade and only gotten a couple pages in before deciding that I didn't like it because I couldn't relate to it in the way that I related to the rest of the Osmanverse. I think that I had that opinion because I didn't identify as Arrow Ace, therefore the book was automatically unrelatable to me. Just giving a little bit of backstory, basically everything I just said. I'm now at the end of my 10th grade year, and I finally decided to give the last book left of my Osmanverse collection a try, and I loved it. I felt like this book was written with so much more understanding and emotion in comparison to Alice's other novels, which says a lot. I do relate to this book, probably even more than the others I may not identify as aromantic or asexual, but Georgia is such a complex and beautifully written character that I see a lot of myself within her. The book describes friendship and platonic relationships the exact way that I think about them and value them, and the emphasis and importance towards friends has always been so special to me, and I find myself wishing that other people my age really felt that value as well, which made it nice to read about characters who genuinely feel that way toward the people in their life. I have a lot of little intricate moments that I appreciate about this book, and there are some beautiful quotes within this book that I can't fathom the thought process behind. I love every single character and how complex everyone really is. I would never imagine that Rooney had so much lore and backstory. And I sympathize with Georgia a lot because as I was reading the book, most of the things that she faced big consequences for, I didn't think were as bad when she was actually doing them from my perspective. But then when she faced the consequences but I liked when she faced the consequences because it helped me understand what was wrong about her actions too. It was like a little learning experience is what I'm trying to say. The next book that I read, although I don't actually think that I put these in the right order anymore because I think I read this before I read Loveless, but moving on. The next book that I read was How to Make Friends with the Dark by Kathleen Glasgow. And guys, there's like a freaking man outside my window and he just looked right into my room. We just made eye contact. This is the same author that wrote Girl in Pieces, and I got through 2 of 4 of the books in her collection because a new one came out, I think, just last year or 2023. I don't know. It's called The Glass Girl, and I really want to get it and read it as well because I'm trying to complete all of them. But this is actually the first book that I fully completed by Kathleen Glasgow, so yeah. This is such a beautiful book. It deals with grief. All of her books deal with some type of like mental challenges going on, whether it just be depression or grief or addiction. Those are the ones that I've read about so far, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know what The Glass Girl is about actually. This book follows the story of Tiger/Grace, and she starts off the book just living like a normal girl, you know, getting pissed off with her mom about little things. Not gonna lie, her mom pissed me off too at the beginning. Sorry. I empathize with her a lot because her mom was just doing too much. Her mom was one of those moms that like, when you want them to care, they're not there. But then when you want them to leave you alone, they suddenly want to like... Anyway. So I was getting a little pissed off too. And I was like, girl... Because I always read the back of books. And I was like, this book started off like way different than I expected. I thought we would just go into it with her already dealing with the grief. Instead, she was kissing boys. Then the big thing happens and her mom dies. It happens within like the first 3 pages of the book. And the story is absolutely crazy. I cried. I don't know if you guys go back to one of my videos. I don't know which one it is, but I think it was literally called Spring Vlog and Finishing a New Book. I literally was finishing this book and I cried so bad. I cried more, I think, than I showed in the video. I feel like the ending was slightly rushed, just a little bit. Or not rushed, but I would have just liked to seen it fleshed out a little bit more because it was a bit of a time skip. And then I found myself wondering what happened to like a bunch of other characters in the book that just like suddenly disappeared. But the book is really good. I think I wrote a review for it, but I don't remember. Let me check. I did. It's just it's a different cover than the one I have right now. Okay, my review is pretty short and sweet. I rated the book 5 stars, which looking back, it's probably like a 4.5 star. This is unserious. Okay, I've never read sad books like this at all. I think this is my first one because I've tried to read Girl in Pieces by the same author and only got halfway through. But also I was like 13 when I tried reading Girl in Pieces for the first time. I fell in love with every single character. Also, why is Thaddeus like the love of my life? I can't even put into words how I'm feeling during the reading process, but I don't know, bro. Kathleen must be on something while she's writing these books because how the flip. Anyway, that's my calm review. It's not an accurate representation of how I'm feeling, but I can't word it. Still crying. Okay, bye. And it's funny because I literally wrote this review like right after I finished the book. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the video, but I literally watched the review right after. I wrote, oh my god, saying everything but the right damn word. I literally wrote this review right after I finished reading the book, so I don't know why I wasn't able to put it into words that much. I probably needed to sit with my feelings a little bit longer, but it was such a beautiful book. I definitely recommend. I don't even think my like tone is emphasizing how I felt about this book. I seem so bland and excited. I swear I'm hyped up, guys. I'm so tired today. Moving on to the next book. This is Meet Me in the Middle by Alex Light, and I know that I read this book after I read How to Make Friends with the Dark because I was like, oh, a cute little romance, and then it ended up being about grief as well. I don't even remember the characters' names. Alex and Eden? Eden and Truman. Alex and Eden is crazy, bro. I put the author in the freaking book. Eden and Truman. This book is, again, a double perspective book, and it follows the stories of Eden and Truman. Eden is the best friend of the character Katie, who is in a coma. That is not a spoiler. It's on this. Katie is in a coma, and Eden's relation to her is that she was her best friend, and Truman was Katie's brother. But Truman and Eden, it's a little bit of a romance story. Not to do a big spoiler because I'm not going to say how, but they are kind of a little bit, they play a slight role in the fact that she's injured in the first place because they were being a little romantic. Oh my god, somebody's freaking back home. This book is okay. It gave me Wattpad vibes. I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't cry, but I literally cry over everything. So if I cry over a book, I always used to say, if a book makes me cry, then that's like an automatic, like, it's a really good book. I think I should raise my standards a little bit. Raise your yeah. Well, that was so off pitch. I think I should raise my yeah a little bit because it wasn't that good. It was not good. And I think I did give it a pretty high rating just because of the fact that it made me cry. Even though I literally cry over every damn thing. This says nothing. It says nothing. I could read the most crappy book of all, and if somebody dies, tears are falling. Tears are streaming. So, really, it's never that serious. One thing is that the ending, looking back, it was so obvious how the ending of the book was going to go just because it's a very cliche book. Every trope in this book is extremely cliche. It's giving Wattpad. It's giving teenage girl sits down in her room. Teenage girl sits writing on Wattpad. And not much thought is put behind how the book should go. It's very predictable and such. With that being said, I couldn't predict the ending. I thought we were gonna have a happy ending. I thought everything was gonna work out and everybody was gonna be happy. Let's read my review on the book. And look at this freaking long ass review that I wrote as well. Ooh, this review has spoilers. Should I read it? Skip to the timestamp on the screen if you don't want to hear the spoilers about this book. Genuinely, this is freaking insane. So I just finished this book like 30 seconds ago and I feel sick to my stomach. I tried to read this months ago, but I initially found it hard to immerse myself into the story. I picked it up now that I've got more free time and I watched a few TikTok reviews on it like I do for every book before I begin reading it. Every single one said that this book was extremely sad and depressing. I was about 3/4 into the book when I was literally asking myself, what the heck is everybody yapping about? This is like 95% romance, 5% grief. That is true. Until I got to the last few pages, like, hello? First of all, I'm pissed because I was rooting for Truman and Eden so hard. I would have even settled for Manny and Eden, but just to end the book with none of them being endgame actually got me. I was genuinely kind of unimpressed by the writing of the book because it just made me cringe a lot. That is true. It was very cringy. I forgot to mention that. And it's giving like 2020 Wattpad at some parts. But guys, this actually still managed to make me feel absolutely gutted after reading it. I'm so sad right now. Like, why wouldn't Truman and Eden just stay together? They are literally the only two people in the world who understand each other in this situation. That is so true. I understand the guilt and sadness and the constant reminder of what they did, but I don't know, because while I was reading, both characters seemed genuinely way less depressed when they were around each other, and clearly they're better together because they were able to communicate about what they were both feeling. I don't know. I'm just sad. I feel like I've grown to like Katie so much despite her being in a freaking coma the entire book. But also toward the end, this is a major spoiler. Toward the end, I was telling myself she's gonna wake up right before they pull the plug. I was in heavy denial while reading this. Throughout the entire book, I was convinced she would wake up. Anyway, I'm not a fan of the writing itself because it gave book talk at some moments, but the story was beautiful. Well, okay, go read it. I rated the book 3 stars. I thought I rated it like 4, but it was actually a 3-star. So I feel like that's a decent rating for this book. Nothing too extravagant. Just a calm little review. Very cutesy. Guys, the book I'm about to pull out, I have so much to say. The Chaperone by M. Hendricks. So this is the first dystopian type of book that I think ever read. Everything stresses me out. I'm telling you this from my perspective, but I'm telling you, go read the book. Like, it's a decent book. I have a lot to say about the book, but I have to like go to back again, back to back, Maybach stack the M's. Let's talk about the Chaperone. They're living in a place called New America. This story follows, what's her name? Stella is the main character of this book. She is 17 years old. I think this is Stella, guys. I think this is Stella. The book follows her and kind of like her family and such. And basically, New America, it's a lot of world building throughout the whole book. In New America, all girls who are over the age of 12 or like after they get their period. Why am I whispering? Period! Or like hit puberty, which is, yeah, period. They're assigned a chaperone by their parents or like the government. I guess the richer your parents, the better your chaperone. But anyway, they have to walk around, go everywhere. They can't leave their house without the chaperone. The chaperone also spends time with them at home, does like reading with them, helps them with schoolwork. It's kind of like a 24/7 maid, and they refer to their chaperones as like sister. So she starts off the book with a chaperone named Sister Mary, and then a whole thing happens. She gets a new chaperone and such. But I don't even know how much I could share about this book. But New America is, a lot of the laws and rules are mostly based off of the Christian faith and like the Bible and stuff like that, and what they think, what they interpret the Bible to be saying about how people should live. And it's not like the whole world is new America. There's still old America. It's just I'm pretty sure the majority of states, like, you can cross the border. Like, a lot of, like, most of the states have been turned into this new America after a war broke out or something of the sort. I think there were some, like, little funny bits in here. Like, I don't think it was supposed to be funny. But she was like, sometimes you can sneak onto the internet. Because, like, little girls are not allowed to go on the internet. Only, like, parents are allowed to go on the internet. And, like, the internet is very restricted. But, like, sometimes she would, like, go on the internet onto, like, banned websites. And, like, she was like, that's where you learn about, like, illegal, like, that's where you learn about bad stuff, like drugs and alcohol and gay people. Yeah, there are a couple parts in the book like that too, like when she goes over to old America, and she escapes new America, and then she ends up, like, meeting a trans person, or, like, a non-binary person, and she was like, oh my god, I've never seen this before. I don't remember what I rated the book. Let's check. I rated the book 4 stars, which is pretty good. Let's read my review. I said, okay, I broke my review up into, like, 2 separate parts, because the first time I read it, I didn't like it that much, and I think I gave it, like, a 3-star, but then 2 weeks later, I changed the review, which I'm gonna explain why. So, my first review is, boy, this book is a mess. Okay, firstly, I don't even remember what I wanted to say about the first half because it took so long to finish and so much happened between the beginning and the end. Oh my god, that's one thing I didn't like. There was a massive time skip, like 2 time skips or something like that. Like a 5-month time skip, but it's because the book is so long and it spent, like, a majority of the time talking about, like, unnecessary stuff. Anyway, okay, firstly, I don't remember what I wanted to say about the first half because it took so long to finish and so much happened between the beginning and the end. I just finished, and the only question I have is, why did she leave real America, and where the oh, spoiler warning a little bit, but not really. Why did she leave real America, and where the heck is Sister Laura? Like, help her, please. Anyway, go read it, I guess. Too much happened, it made me anxious. Almost 2 full weeks after reading it, I did another review, and I said, okay, so it's a little while later, and I'm still thinking about this book, which I feel like is a sign to bump it up a little bit in the rating department. The book wasn't incredible for its writing, however, because of the story itself, I found it nearly impossible to put the book down while reading it, and I was constantly wanting to pick it up, which I love that. It did somehow put me in a slump afterwards, but I feel like that's just due to the book being way too heavy and the pacing being a little bit odd. Clock it. Too much for the average young adult brain, I suppose. No, too much for my brain. But also, I've literally only seen adults reading this book. Like, isn't this YA? Anyway, I just feel like it's too much for, like, a young adult. Like, too much is going on. Oh my god, and there's, oh my god, trigger warning if you're gonna read this book. Trigger freaking warning. Some stuff happens, like, twice in the book. Oh my golly gee. It's just crazy. Just thought I should put that out there. But I would specifically give this book, like, a 3.75 in the rating department. Here we have, literally, like, my little review. Guys, I didn't have this book for, like, half the year because I lent it to my little friend, my family friend, Nessa. Listen, Nessa, I have something to confess. And I lent this to her, and she had it for, like, half the freaking year. And it took her forever to read it. Like, girl, what the hell, boy? But she kept it in really good condition. Like, I can't even keep my own books in this good of condition. Like, she brought it back. The only, like, these, I did myself. Like, no new cracks on the spine. I cracked the spine of the book myself. This, did myself. Like she did, like, I think it's also because, like, she literally wasn't reading it. Like, she literally took forever to read the damn book. But, like, she had it for so long. I'm so surprised. Like, where did she keep this book? In a sacred cave? Like, it was, anyway, too much, yeah. This is a reread. I'm just gonna say off the bat, I didn't write a review, and I rated it 5 stars. I've read this book every single year since 2022. It's literally, like, my comfort book. I just, so, this is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I love Alice Oseman. I love her so dearly. She is literally the girl ever. The woman ever. Just Tori Spring and Michael Holden, you have my heart. This book follows Victoria Spring, who is the sister of Charlie Spring from the Heartstopper comic. Watching the show and reading Heartstopper does not do her justice. Like, she has so many thoughts and feelings and emotions. And literally, as I was watching Heartstopper, season 3, episode 8, when she said, I never feel anything, I was like, girl, yes you do. Like, trust me, I know. The book is more of just her, like, finding herself, trying to navigate her relationships with her friends and Michael, and trying to understand herself, like, what she feels romantically. And oh my god, every time I read this book, I think of the TikTok audio that was like, my name is Victoria Spring. I think you should know that I make most stuff in my head and then get sad about it. Like, sleep, never I'm going to die someday. There isn't too much for me to, like, explain about the plot and where the book is necessarily taking you. It's more just following her journey. It's very much a coming of age type of story, but it does tackle some things, like, trigger warning for ED, SH, stuff like that. Not Victoria, but Charlie. There are some aspects of that in the book, but for the most part, it's literally my comfort book. I literally love it. I feel like every single time I read it, I pick up on something that I didn't notice the first time, which is crazy because I think I've read this book like 5 times. It's that book. Like, love Michael Holden. I love him. Michael freaking Holden. I freaking love him. Oh my. Moving on. This is You'd Be Home Now by Kathleen Glasgow. This is one of the other books that goes with Girl in Pieces and How to Make Friends with the Dark and The Glass Girl. This is another one. I read this book really quickly. I think I read this book within 24 hours because I was traveling to Toronto. So I read it like the night, I started it the day before that, and then the morning I woke up, I read it on the plane, and I read it in the car. I read it literally everywhere. I read it at the airport. I read it so much. It follows Emery, and honestly, I wish I'd taken a little bit longer to read this book because I found that it was so impactful, yet I didn't feel as connected with the characters. But it's such a beautiful book. Her brother is struggling with addiction, and wait, can I even say addiction? Basically, it's her trying to navigate that, and it just tells the story of the impact that, wait, what am I trying to say? Living with someone or being related to someone who has addiction problems and how much it affects the people around them, not only them but also the people in their life. Out of all the books that I've read by Kathleen so far, I definitely relate to this one the most. I don't remember what I rated the book. I'm gonna check. I rated it 4 stars, and I think it would have definitely been a 5-star book if I had taken a little bit longer to read it. Actually, one of my favorite books that I've read of the year, which is crazy because I read this for my English class, but I read 1984 by George Orwell. This is literally, I think, like one of the first classics that I've read. Like, I'm very much like not like a classics type of gal, but guys, I love this book. It's so good. 1984 is a dystopian novel, and I don't even know what to say about this book. I wrote a freaking whole essay about this book and I still don't know what to say. Honestly, it's very hard for me to gather my thoughts on the book because I'm thinking about it from like the standpoint of like what I would say to my teacher about the book because I read it for school. And like, I'm thinking back to my essay and I'm like, girl, nobody would hear all that. But let me just give you a quick synopsis. The book takes place in Oceania. I still don't know how to say it to this day. Basically, all of the citizens are being controlled and governed by Big Brother or the party. Everything in their reality is skewed from historical records to even present day events. And basically everybody is questioning their own sanity. Only rely on Big Brother and the party because that's the only group of people that seem sure and confident of what's happening. Obviously, if people believe something happened and then it's being like turned into, oh, that didn't happen, but like then you're like, oh, but I remember it happening. You're like questioning your sanity. So the only people you can rely on are the people in the chair, the one in the chair. The main character is Winston. He's like, no, I don't really think I align with this. He doesn't really align with the lifestyle. And is it Julie? Hey, Julie, where'd you got that drip? Oh, I still have a freaking bookmark in here, so I'll be back. Julia. They kind of decide that they both want to go against the party, but they both have like different intentions. Like Julia, she's just trying to... I think Winston is more for the people and for the morals, and Julia's more for herself, if that makes any sense. She wants to be able to express herself and have intimate relations and such, and Winston is more just like, oh, I feel like this is wrong. Like, this is wrong. I don't align with this. But also Winston, he kind of wants love too. Like, they kind of have a little thing. So that is it for all the books I read of 2024. I'm sorry if this video was a little bit boring. I don't know. Let me know if you guys like this type of video or if you want me to go back to just like vlogs and such. I'll probably still keep making them regardless because I think it's kind of fun. But yeah, those are all the books I read. I hope to read a lot more books in 2025. I'm currently reading 2 books at the same time. My current reads are Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow and Legends and Lattes by, I forget the author's name, Travis Baldree. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. And so I'm super excited to finish those. Once I do, I'm probably gonna like tell you guys about them and like how they go. I hope to do some reading vlogs, mood reading and stuff like that. And I also want to make a video creating my reading journal for 2025, so maybe that is something that will be coming up in the future as well, so stay tuned for that. And also I want to make a video talking about my TBR because there are a couple book challenges that I want to do this year. I don't know if you guys can see, but that's Icebreaker in the back, so there's a little hint of the book challenges, one of the book challenges that I'm going to be doing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you don't miss every time I post a brand new video. Check out all my social medias. They'll be down in the description below, along with the link to my main channel, It's KYD, to see some more fun gaming video essay type content and see me be a little bit more hype because I probably look like I'm dying. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!